What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? So I am going to be going through and naming my top 10 fastest cars in Gran Turismo 3. So this list is very subject to change for everybody else, but I'm going to just go ahead and get going right now with mine, and this is number 10, which is the Dodge Viper GTS. What I'm going to do with each car is just go do a quick max test speed run situation with each car. I'll maybe edit it if I'm not talking about stuff in the middle, but I'm going to just show y'all my top 10 fastest cars. I know that everyone's list is different, and I would love to hear in the comment section below what cars are your fastest. And if you want to give all the specs and info and stuff like that, you totally can. I will also be giving my specs after I do this top 10 speed for each car, because I have these tuned in the way that, like, as I've said before, my max speed run, where I did the max speed test with every single car in the game, I have it geared a very specific way, and it's the way where I basically want it to be redlining near the end of the max speed test, and that's just kind of was my universal standard with each car. So that's how I got all of my numbers. So they're probably not geared, tuned towards the fastest way that you can make each car go. And then, of course, you have to include slipstream and stuff like that. But I'm going for a near red line near the end of the 3/4 of the course. Try to straighten the car out as much as possible near the end. And that's what we're going to do. So starting out is obviously the Viper GTS. I have it lowered. I have all the settings. I'll show all that in a second. But this is how fast I was able to get this car to go when it gets near its red line near the end of the finish of the max speed run. I got it to 255.7 this time, which actually I think that's actually worse than what I got last time. So that's, I mean, of course, that's how it is. But that's how fast I got about how fast I got the Viper to be in this. I will go show my springs, all my stuff here. You can see how I did it. There's my gear ratios. And yeah, basically the gear ratios is the only thing that changes each time. So that's my Viper GTS, my number 10th fastest car in the game for me personally. Next, so now number 9 is a car that's awesome. This is a Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4 Turbo. This is a beautiful car that I bought in blue. You don't get this car, I don't think, from any price. I don't think. I'm pretty sure you don't. So this is the Mitsubishi. I bought it at this dealership. I picked blue because it's beautiful. It's a good car. Looking good. Lowered it. I'll show all my specs in a second. But yeah, this is the 3000 GT VR4 Turbo. It's a good car. And this is the thing where just to kind of give a little bit more information on the way I do this, it's not necessarily the fastest specs ever, but what I was going for was that the car would be nearing its final gear, be just switching to the low gear of the final, it's just switching to its final gear as I near this turn, and then near the red line I tried not to go into the red line, but it was pretty subject to change, but that was the standard that I set. So these specs are probably not the best, they're probably not the most perfect form, but this was my way of just kind of creating the standard for fastest car that I was going for. It's a lot of fun though, and I enjoy it. And so I would love to hear everyone's specs in the comments, because I'm impressed with what people can do in this game, and I would love to hear what people do in this game, because people do some incredible stuff. But yeah, here is the Mitsubishi GT 3000 GT VR4 Turbo. That actually was, I think, better than the time I did before. So it was ninth. So, but yeah, I'll show my gear ratios here, because everything else is pretty much everything else is the exact same. So there it is. Take a look at that. You can tell me how to change it to make it slightly better. And now we'll move on to number 8. In the meantime, thank you all so much for this video support. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share and all that good stuff, because I like to hear what people think about this stuff, and I like to see what people have done in these games, because people have done some crazy cool stuff in this game. So number 8 is the Zonda C12S, a car that is so amazing. It was actually supposed to be in GT2, but they couldn't get it in time. I thought for a very long time that it was C12.5. I don't know why. I just didn't even look at the label of the game. It's obviously C12S, but I always just thought it was the C12.5, like C125. But I mean, it kind of looks like a 5. You can see it. But yeah, this car is amazing. I love when they put this car in like the wind and they have it max out at 150, even though it's like one of the fastest revving cars in the entire game. It's such a good looking car. It's aged very, 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 very well. And yeah, my standard goes the same. Try to get to the 6th, or usually it's the 6th gear, but sometimes it's 5th, the final gear before that turn. And then try to get to the near the red line, or revving, or whatever you want to call it. Rev line? What is it called? I don't know what it's called. But the point where you start to cross into the red, I try to get to near there, or just over it, or just under it, literally just near it by the straightaway. So obviously you can tell by the 3000 GT VR4 Turbo I went over, but that was because I tested that, and it was actually, that was my fastest speed when I used it, so it worked out. Yeah, this is the Pagani Zonda C12S, and again, beautiful car. Very fun to drive, very, very fast. Obviously, it's going 263. It's insane. I'm also curious if I can beat my times on any of these before. So like that one, I just beat my previous, but I'm going off of what I did from the first time when I did these max speed tests. So it's my top 10 list from that. Here's my gear ratio. Because obviously, every single car in this game, you can very, very slightly, if you just drive it just perfectly, you can obviously increase the top speed. But these are the cars that were the top 10 when I finished my max speed test before. Again, I would love to hear y'all's lists. And if I'm doing, I know I'm not making it perfect, so don't be too hard on me for not having it totally line up and be perfect. The next car, and this is number 7, is the Mazda 787B. Again, one of the best cars in the game. Very, very fast off the front line. Sounds amazing in this game too. Very incredible. I love this car so much, and I'm so glad they got it for GT3, and then they continue to bring it back, because, I mean, how can you not include Mazda's rotary engine 1991 Le Mans champion car? It just looks so good, sounds so good. I've done a lot of research on the Mazda 787B. Learned that the 787B was in such good shape after it won the Le Mans in 91 that they were able to, they didn't, but they could have reused the entire car unrepaired for another 24 hours, which is just crazy to think about, driving a car for 48 hours. But it drove for 24, did so good, and was in such good shape that it could have done it again. RPMs in this car are insane. Obviously, you're up into the above 8,000s. You're not even redlining. It's insane. Ugh, just such a beautiful car. Sounds great. Looks great. I mean, orange on green is usually a complete disaster, but with this car, it looks so good. So, great handling. I don't think it has as good of handling as obviously like the GT1 and the R89C, R92 CP, and the R3090. Like, those cars all have amazing handling too, but the 77B, I mean, gosh, how can you not? I'm so glad that they made it so fast and it's tuned. It's just incredible. So, love it so much, and I'll show my specs now briefly. Y'all can, take a picture or whatever, pause it there, kind of see what it is. Still go for my standard thing where I try to get it near its final gear, close to the final turn, and then near the red lining when it gets to the point where you're hitting the end of the max speed test challenge itself. 6th place car is another car that's so freaking good in this game, and kind of a bummer because I think they weakened this car in later games. It's the R390 GT1 LM race car. This thing is a beast, absolute beast. Love this car. This car is one of the best in the game. Of course, the Formula 1s are freaking amazing, but the R390's top speed combined, like, The Formula Ones obviously are way better on turns, and at their like initial acceleration, they're just insane. But I think the overall one of the fastest cars in terms of acceleration and like overall performance is the R390 GT1 race car version, of course, because of the fact that this car is so good in the GT All Stars, and like it's notorious for just being insanely fast in that game and that race. It's like, of course, with the Formula Ones, that race is so hard, but the reason why that race is so hard is because you can't tune any cars in that race. But the R390 GT1 race car is so fast when it's tuned that like nothing can even really compete with it in terms of raw power. Like it's just insane. I think like, I mean, it's the hardest race for sure to get all golds in is that GT All Stars race because of this legendary race car that I don't even think it won in 98. I don't know what car won in 98, but I don't think it was the R390. I know that the GT1 tried, but I don't remember what car won. If y'all can let me know, that would be amazing, because I don't remember what car won in the 90s one. Yeah, I didn't drive it as well there, so don't regard the actual placement. I'm going off of what I did before. But man, the R390, so freaking good. So fast, so good off the line. All-wheel drive. I mean, what is not to love about that car? And it just looks good. Although, y'all, I missed that red one. The red and black one, the 97 one from GT2. Oh my gosh, that thing was my favorite car in Gran Turismo 2. I wish that they put it back in later games, but they did not. So moving on. Number 5 on the list of my top 10 fastest cars was the Esprit Sport 350. This is basically a like, it almost looks like a street legal racing version of the Esprit. I don't think that's actually true, but it just looks like it. It has the decals, it has the like spoiler, it has all the fixins. It's an amazing car, very light. So you notice that it wasn't as powerful as the other cars. Same with the 787B. Their lightweightness, if that's even a word, is what kind of gets them higher up on the list, because they are able to just accelerate so fast off the line, and they're just so light, and I mean, that makes a difference, you know? If you have a light car that doesn't have as much power, you can do some work. So here's the Esprit Sport 350. It looks very good. I like that silver, and the rear spoiler is really good too. It's a good looking car, very fast, sounds great, kind of has a Lotus Esprit GT1 sound from Gran Turismo 2 when you tune it up fully. A little bit of a Jaguar XJ220 in there too, so it's just great. I love how they tuned these cars in this game. The sound in this game is so good. Like when you tune up a car, like they basically just merge a bunch of sounds together, which probably isn't realistic to do that, but like the Esprit, you can still hear very faintly underneath all of that turbo. You can hear that Esprit sound, the one that's in the iconic Esprit sound that's every Esprit sounds like. You can hear it just very faintly, you know? So I love that they kept that sound and then just did more to kind of cover it up. I think that's a great idea, and I don't think they really did that in later games. But yeah, there's the Esprit. I mean, I drove that car. That car's so good, so fast. I'll show my specs. There they are. 6th gear. It doesn't have a 6th gear when you don't give it its transmission thing, and you have to add a 6th gear, which is what I did, obviously. And there we go. That's my 5th fastest car, and it's funny. It actually finished 5th on the list there, so you kind of can tell. All right, next up is a very, very similar car. This is my 4th fastest car that I got in the game. It is the Esprit V8 SE. So it has a little bit more power, a little bit heavier. Got it in yellow because, I mean, it's a Lotus. You got to get it in a sporty color like that. Yeah, so it's very similar to the Esprit 350, but I think it's missing the spoiler. It's a little heavier. It's actually like the road, like the real car. You know, the V8 SE is like the one that everyone knows. The Esprit Sport is very, what is it? I mean, it's more of there was very limited, the 350. It was a very limited car. And yes, my old PS2 controller kind of jerked out a little bit there and kind of turned really quickly off the start. So I'm hoping that I can still do well with the Esprit V8. I'm going to see how well I can just control the car and see if I can keep it up, because it should be a little bit faster than the Esprit Sport 350, but it might not look it now. This car also just very good, very fast, very good looking car. I know that Lotuses in real life kind of are terrible, and that sucks because they look so good, but I think if you can make a car look good, then, and it's a sports car, you know people aren't going to drive it a lot, so you can kind of make it not as good of a car in terms of endurance, because people probably won't drive it very much. So I think I recovered this pretty nicely. We'll see if it passes the Esprit Sport 350. That one was going very fast, so it's going to be hard to do it, but I think I might be able to just top the Esprit Sport 350. I already can't remember what I did, but it should be the 4th fastest car, and look at that. Nailed it. So it's going to be funny, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the top 10 list at the end of the video, and we're going to compare how they actually did and see if I actually drove them pretty consistently during my max speed test. Because I was trying really hard, but not too hard, because, you know, obviously it's more about the discussion with y'all than it is about actually driving perfectly and getting it right. There's my 100%. Didn't mean to do that, but just in case you wanted to see it. Next up, this is number 3. It is the Toyota GT1 race car. Obviously, you knew this was going to be on the list. And I'm not doing wheelie glitches, by the way. I'm not counting the wheelie glitch, because the GT1 would, I think, destroy everybody. Maybe the Escudo could keep up, but GT1, even without the wheelie glitch, is one of the fastest cars in this game. Sounds fantastic. I always comment on this, I think, when I play this game. I'm bummed that they messed up the sound for the GT1. Either this sound, the 3 and 4 sound, is actually messed up, and they fixed it for 5, 6, and maybe Sport, if they brought it out for Sport. But this sound is so iconic, and that's the thing that's so hard, is if this is the wrong sound, then I'm so bummed that they made it sound so ballin'. Like, the GT1 sounds amazing in Gran Turismo 3 and 4, and it just sounds so dull in 5 and 6, but I'm like, I kind of get the vibe that it sounds right in 3 and 4. That's just the vibe I get, because the problem in later Gran Turismo games is they brought in so many other cars that the GT1, the R390, those cars don't stand out anymore. That's the problem, and I would never actually want them to remove those cars. It's just, I wish they kept the original sounds, just to kind of give people the nostalgia of like, okay, this car's been in the game since GT2, since GT3, you know? It's just a bummer that they changed the sound. Even though for all I know, literally, this could be the right sound, this could be the wrong sound. I have no idea. So, didn't drive it as well as I wanted to, but it's okay. I'm going to show you my gear settings for this one. There they are. Enjoy. And then we're going to go back, and I'm going to move in through this quickly, but I wanted to try to not make this a too long of a video. The second car, that's the second fastest car in my playthrough. By now, you guys have probably totally figured out exactly where it is, because the thing with this game is everybody kind of has the same list when you get to like 4, 3, 2, and 1. My second fastest car was easily the Toyota Supra RZ. I don't know why people say Z, it sounds cool. I want to get used to saying Z, but it's RZ. I don't know, whatever you want. But this is one of those cars that is only good for top speed. If I was to do a fastest 1,000 meters, oh my gosh, it would not even come close. Not even come close at all. So, yeah. That is a slow first gear, but then it just keeps going. It just never stops decelerating. It almost feels like it just accelerates faster and faster until it hits the 5th gear, and then it goes back to normal. But I just love the Supra RZ. It literally feels like it's half the Castro Tom Supra sound and half of a Supra RZ sound, which I think is fantastic that they did that. It just sounds great tuned up, and I have it in the special color, of course. I think it's a little faster in the special color. Don't quote me on that. I think it is, just a little bit. I love that they did that, where they added special colors and made them faster, because then it gives you an incentive to win all the prize cars, which I thought was awesome. Yeah, so we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna have some fun driving this thing. It's got pretty good handling. It's very heavy, but I mean, you can see it's one of the most powerful cars in the game, which is how it's able to, even though it's so heavy, just kick everyone's butt. It's easily gonna hit, I think it's gonna hit 270. I'm not actually sure. It should. Maybe it doesn't. I might be wrong on that. Okay, I'm wrong on that. I might have been able to in the past, but this time I did not. I did not beat my old score with the Supra. So, let me show my gears. It's very close, apparently. Wow, it's very close. So there they are. Enjoy. And now the most obvious answer to the fastest car in Gran Turismo 3 is easily the Escudo. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it because, duh, it's going to be the Escudo. Everyone knows it's the Escudo. It's the Escudo easily because it's so freaking good. Here's the Escudo Pikes Peak version, 98 maybe, or 99. I can't remember. It's a different one from the one in Gran Turismo 2. I know that everyone here probably knows that by now, but just in case you didn't, the Escudo in Gran Turismo 2 is the 96 version, I think, and it's for some reason, it's way better. I don't know why they made it better, and it's not in 3. I think it's just because it's an actual rally car in 3. It has that turbo lag that you'll notice there when I revved it, but then it just takes off and flies away, and you can see the turbo lag every time it switches to the gear low in the low points. It goes significantly slower than as you continue to rev through, which is very interesting. Beautiful car again, looks great. Insane that a rally car could have that much power, but it 100% does. It's just so good. What's not to love, you know? I'm gonna brake, try something here. See if this actually makes it faster. This is just an experiment. Everyone knows the Escudo is the fastest car in the game, so I'm trying to see if I can actually make it go faster because I braked. I don't think that actually helped anything, but yeah, the Escudo is insane. I was able to get it over 300 the first time I used it, so it's probably because I braked that time that it didn't work, but I'll show you the gear settings, and then we'll compare humorously my top 10 list from what I did before. There are the gears. It's looking good. And then we'll show the records and see how we did. So, obviously, yeah, the Escudo before kicked butt. I very closely tied the Supras. The GT1 was in the same spot. Esprit V8 SE. I beat it in this go around. Then I had the GT1 race car, which was supposed to be higher, but I didn't drive it as well. Actually, that's not true. Wait, I'm very confused about what I did here, but y'all got the picture. I was pretty close on most of them, but it's thrown off because I added other cars. So I'm gonna delete that thing anyway. So be sure to enjoy the video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And hope you enjoy the video.